Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, champion of gender equality, dies at 87. And I was happy that I was able to say that properly because the past 4 times I've said Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That's not to say that I don't have any respect for this woman. I do. She spent most of her adult life serving her country. And even if you disagree with her politics or you don't know what should happen now that she's gone, we can, at the very least, be decent people, recognize the body of her life's work, and understand that regardless of politics, somebody's dead. Her family is obviously in mourning. She wasn't an evil person, even if you disagreed with her. So let's at least come at this situation with a little bit of respect. And yes, I know I'm calling for respect, even though I started the video with a joke, but that really wasn't at her expense. And to be honest, on a lot of social issues, I actually sided with Ginsburg. Gender equality, of course. I'm pro-choice as well. Pro-gay marriage. There are a lot of more left-leaning rulings coming out of the court that I just can't object to. In fact, I directly support. Because a lot of them were simply issues of human rights, of equal access to public services. Of course, she was also routinely anti-Second Amendment, which is a valid reason as to why some people did not like her rulings. But regardless, she still did what she thought was right. She wrote well-reasoned opinions during her time on the court, and I think it's fair to say that she acted honorably in her position. So, you will be missed. Of course, back here in the land of the living, absolutely everybody is losing their minds. If they even try to replace RBG, we burn the entire fucking thing down. Firstly, I almost read this as RGB. I'm probably watching too much Linus Tech Tips. But dude, there's been like riots for the past 4 months now. People on the left have been constantly burning and re-burning down their own neighborhoods. Do you think this is how you win the election? Do you think people are seriously going to give in to a threat like this? You've been trying it for 4 months, and the polls are showing your guys aren't going to win. Why are you doubling down on this nonsense? Over our dead bodies, literally. You don't want to make that your terms, man. You do not want to make that your terms. The only solace I can take tonight is that if anyone is capable of helping us from the other side, it's RBG. If she wants to haunt Mitch McConnell and other Senate Republicans for a few months, I'm cool with that too. Thank you for everything, Justice Ginsburg. And there's a white power fist? Alright. But dude, I guess they're gonna try and summon her back from beyond the grave. Listen, alright? Don't bring her back to Hell World, okay? If McConnell jams someone through, which he will, there will be riots. How is that any different from the current state of affairs? Ruth Bader Ginsburg just died. Might as well kill myself before I'm forced through conversion therapy. I mean, if Mike Pence hasn't made his electrodes mandatory after 4 years, it's probably not going to happen. If the Democrats don't fight, the people are going to have to march on Washington and shut it down ourselves. Yeah, good luck with that one, dude. Let me know how marching on the White House turns out for you. Fuck you, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Fuck you for not retiring under Obama. Fuck you for dying under Trump. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Leftist, feminist, vegan, epidemiologist, Coomer, she/her. You know, even I gave her more respect than you did at the start of this video. Honestly, if Trump steals a second term with minority support and ends up with a 6-3 court with Thomas Alito, Gorch, Kavanaugh, and some other wingnut, it would be time to think hard about getting out. Especially the Jews. This never ends well for us. And dude, just wait until you hear what the socialists think of Jewish people. I hope the men of the world know that if Roe versus Wade gets repealed, I'm not having sex with any of them. Also, fuck. Is this an admission that your only valuable aspect is your vagina? Ruth Bader Ginsburg was America's Dumbledore, and now nothing stands between America and its Voldemort. Thank you, Vice. Thank you for continuing the slow degradation of journalistic integrity's corpse. Here's worldwide renowned melting clock artist Joe Biden. Let me be clear, the voters should pick a president, and that president should select a successor to Justice Ginsburg. Now the election's what, like less than 2 months away? It is cutting it pretty close to select a new court justice. But man, I've heard this before, haven't I? Oh yeah! The Republicans, in their infinite stupidity, said the exact same thing that Joe Biden is saying now when there was a spot to fill on the Supreme Court back in 2016. And here's what President Obama had to say about that.
When there is a vacancy on the Supreme Court, the President of the United States is to nominate someone. The Senate is to consider that nomination. Either they disapprove of that nominee or that nominee is elevated to the Supreme Court. Historically, this has not been viewed as a question. There's no unwritten law that says that it can only be done on off years. That's not in the constitutional text. I'm amused when I hear people who claim to be strict interpreters of the Constitution suddenly reading into it a whole series of provisions that are not there. There is more than enough time for the Senate to consider in a thoughtful way the record of a nominee that I present and to make a decision.
And it seems like the irony is lost on everybody right now. Here's Chuck Schumer back in 2016. Attention, GOP. Senate has confirmed 17 SCOTUS justices in presidential election years. Do your job. Here's Chuck Schumer today. The American people should have a voice in the selection of the next Supreme Court justice. Therefore, this vacancy should not be filled until we have a new president. There's no consistency here. It's just whatever happens to benefit you at the time, eh? And the thing is, if Republicans did actually decide to try and ram through a new justice in the 2 months that they have left for the election, I'm not even sure if the Democrats could stop them. Because back in 2013, the Democrats used their power then to change the procedures within the Senate. Rule 22 of Senate procedure requires that 3/5 of all senators agree to end a filibuster. In other words, if one senator wanted to stall out a proceeding indefinitely, it would take 60 other senators to vote to stop him. Under the new rule, voted on by the Democrat majority Senate, it would take only 50 senators and not 60 to break a filibuster. This applied to everything with the exception of Supreme Court justices. Back then, Mitch McConnell had this to say about the Democrats blatantly changing the rules to make it more favorable to them.
Once again, Senate Democrats are threatening to break the rules of the Senate, in order to change the rules of the Senate. And over what? Over what? Over a court that doesn't even have enough work to do? The majority leader promised, over and over again, that he wouldn't break the rules of the Senate in order to change them. If you want to play games, set yet another precedent that you'll no doubt come to regret. Say to my friends on the other side of the aisle, you'll regret this, and you may regret it a lot sooner than you think.
And he was right, because in 2017, the Senate, now run by mostly Republicans, was able to build upon that 2013 rule change and lower the requirement to 50 senators for Supreme Court justice nominations as well. And had that change not happened, well, the Senate would be in a much better position to block any potential Trump nominee that comes up between now and the election. These people truly don't understand that you can't simply change the rules to make it more advantageous for you, because the minute you're out of power, your opponents will use those same rules against you. Again, this is why you can't give the government extreme amounts of power, because the minute that somebody you don't like gets voted in, that power is going to be used in a way that you don't want. It is restriction of government power that prevents all of this, not the expansion of it. I do think it's important to talk about this mentality, though. Fuck, now Trump's going to destroy everything. Women's rights, immigrant rights, LGBT rights will be gone with her. We lost our last hope. Well, this individual here is obviously cancerous as fuck, but I don't blame him, he's only 17. But let's discuss the actual idea here, not the person. Does this mean that suddenly Roe vs. Wade is going to disappear? Even though in my opinion it's not a great way to do abortion rights, no, it probably won't just vanish overnight. People on the right thinking that it will, they're idiots. People on the left crying about it, you're also idiots. That is not how things work. The two Supreme Court justices that have come out of Trump's administration have not been far-right fascists or whatever. There was like a centrist and a slightly center-right guy. People who are not outside of the realm of acceptable politics. In fact, one of Kavanaugh's first actions was to side with the liberal side of the bench. Even if Trump were to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg with somebody who was a bit more right-leaning than her, would women's rights go? I don't think so. Would LGBT rights go? If we're talking about gay marriage, I also don't think so. I think that's a settled issue. And to be frank, if I actually thought that gay marriage in the States was at risk, then I would be objecting far more than I am now. Because no, rightoids, gay marriage is just fine. Immigrant rights. Well, we actually might see a dismantling of DACA, finally. And maybe you like that, maybe you don't. Personally, I do think that you should be a citizen of a country, or, legally invited in order to reside in that country. So if by immigrant rights you mean the right to freely flow across the border, maybe bringing drugs, maybe bringing weapons, maybe trafficking people, or even just best case scenario, coming across to live a life as an illegal immigrant, yeah, that's not a right, and that should be curtailed. But there is serious worry coming out of the left, and, I kind of get it. They still think they're fighting the old religious right. They still think the right wing of politics is run by people like Pat Robertson or Newt Gingrich or Rush Limbaugh, these nutcases who are out there talking about Jesus. Or alternatively, the war hawk neocons like Bush and Cheney. But that isn't what the right is anymore. And those reasonable people in the center and the center left have recognized that that's not what the right is anymore, which is why the left is losing to them. And in terms of the real politic of the situation, if the Democrats could have forced through their SCOTUS pick in 2016, they would have, but they did not have the power to do so. Right now, the Republicans do. They might even try it. Actually, in my opinion, it might actually be a bad idea to try it, because what is going to lose this election for the left is the complete demoralization within the Democratic Party right now. Nobody wanted Biden, yet here he is. He's a complete fucking shambling nightmare. Among those people who don't hate Trump, most of them completely love him, and there have been a few things still on the table that could actually help tilt the election in the Democrats' favor. One of them is like if Trump had a stroke or Trump died or something, because he's kind of an older man. Another one is a massive second wave of coronavirus. And another one is the death of a Supreme Court justice. This just might galvanize the left enough to get out there and try to get Biden into office. So if you're an American and you want to see Trump win, this is the tipping point. This is where all hell breaks loose. This is that final crisis at the 11th hour. So if you want Trump to win, you've got to get out there and make sure that he does. And although I am not a Trump superfan, I would take him over anything the left is putting out right now. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. I love you.